Patience is a virtue that is so often forgotten in today's society. And that patience is often tested by these damn scalpers that keep buying up all these new systems and game companies that offer us a promised land of games but keep pushing back the release dates. I'm sorry. I lost my temper. I offer you gamers a game of patience. You can play this game now and look on the upside. Actually, there is no choice. You gotta be patient.
Hello, fellow gamers and horror film fans. I'm Mike C, and welcome into the Chrono Cabin. And this is where I love to talk your ear off about horror films and all genres of video games. Now, as our puppet friend Billy so eloquently said, this is going to be a game. This is going to be a game for us gamers to play, and we will be tested. It's a game of patience. And as the video goes on, I think you'll see how the overall theme of this video is patience. So first off, I actually really enjoyed this PlayStation showcase. I actually give it a solid B. On a scale of 1 to 5 Yeti thumbs, let's see what Mr. Yeti gives it. 4 Yeti thumbs up. Mr. Yeti, I agree with you. I do think this was a fairly decent presentation, and I'm not going to get into all the games because you've already seen all the games, but this is just my perspective on this showcase. I'm just going to tell you a few games that I'm pretty excited about and then some thoughts. But first of all, I gotta say, I'm a Borderlands fan, so I'm actually pretty excited for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I think the game looks great, but surprisingly, I'm not a Borderlands fan from way back. I actually started Borderlands. I played the first game in that series. I got it on sale for about $5, and this was right as the pandemic was starting. So I decided to go ahead and try it out, and actually I really loved it. I love the simplicity of the game. I like the stupid humor. I like the cell shading. I like the overall look. I know Borderlands isn't for everybody. A lot of people don't like that cell shading. I like it. It feels like I'm playing a comic book. Anyway, I liked it so much, then I picked up the Handsome Jack collection on a sale. I think again I got it for like $5, and that was literally Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, and I played both of those, and then I liked it so much I went on and played Borderlands 3, and I even got that on sale. I got to play that whole series from the start, and I didn't have to wait years in between when these games came out, so it was kind of fun to actually watch the evolution of this game series, of this franchise, in a shorter amount of time. But anyway, I loved it, and one of my favorite characters is Tiny Tina, and I know some of you will probably disagree with me on that because some people just don't like Tiny Tina. They think she's kind of annoying. I actually found her very funny. I really enjoyed her character, and I'm kind of glad to see them actually doing something with Tiny Tina. And I gotta give props to Ashley Birch. She's the actress that voices Tiny Tina, and I'm happy that she's getting all this work. It's great. I think she does a great job on the voice. She's funny, and it's just overall, I think it's kind of cool to see Tiny Tina getting her own little spin-off. And I do think this is kind of a spin-off. I don't think it's necessarily going to be as long as Borderlands 3. It's probably not going to be as open world as Borderlands 3. I have a feeling it's going to be a little more linear and maybe story-driven. But a couple things I really like about this, the look of this game. I think one, the fantasy look that they're going for on this game, I think it's great. I think it's kind of a cross between, I don't know, maybe Pandora, Dungeons and Dragons, and even a little Harry Potter. So I'm really excited about this one. I just think this is going to be a fun spin on the Borderlands series. Now, this is a remake, but I'm super excited for it, and it's Knights of the Old Republic. I'm a big fan of RPGs, and I mean, seriously, RPG and Star Wars, like you put those two together, mix them together like the Jolly Green Giant makes soup, hell, I think it's going to be great, you know? It was great back on the Xbox, at least I had a good time playing it, and I'm excited to actually see a remastered version of it. And we didn't really see much in the way of gameplay. I imagine they're going to improve the graphics. It might maybe run at 60 frames per second, although I'm not even sure 60 frames per second is really a necessary thing in an RPG type game like this. But, you know, they're obviously going to improve the visuals of the game. We'll see what they do with it. I would definitely have liked to have seen more game footage overall, but I do think this could be a really fun replay. Like, I enjoyed it when I played it on the Xbox. Now, I haven't played it in years, so I do think that this is going to be a fun game to revisit, and especially if it has improved visuals. Maybe they'll even make the combat system a little more interesting. Who knows? Looking forward to that one. It is a remaster, yes, but it's a game I haven't played in years, and hell, I really enjoyed it. All right, now Alan Wake. I'm excited for Alan Wake. This is a game that I never played on the 360. A lot of my friends were always like, play this game, just play it. And I was like, no, damn it, I will defy you, I'm not going to play it.
Oh, the glasses! Oh! Put them on! Oh!
Actually, I put it on my list of games to play, but honestly, I never bought it, and I never played it. There's no particular reason why, just had other stuff I was playing at the time. So for me, I think this is going to be great, because this is a first time playthrough for me, and they're upping this to 60 frames per second, and they're going to have ray tracing. I think it's just going to look cool. So I'm excited because I've never played it. So for me, this is an all new game. And actually, I really do like Remedy Entertainment. I really enjoyed Control. Control, to me, is a great game. Another great game to play kind of around Halloween. It kind of gets you in that Halloween vibe. It's very dark. It's kind of creepy. And I would definitely call Control a horror themed game. And right now, there is actually a crossover between Control and Alan Wake. So I haven't played that yet, but there's an add-on that you can get, and I haven't played it, but they introduced the Alan Wake character into the game. I think that might be a lot of fun. I might do that. But I am really excited to actually play the first time through Alan Wake. I think it's going to be a fun experience. It looks great. The game looks very interesting. I've always heard the story is really great. So I am excited, even though, again, this is a remaster. It's not a new game. I'm happy to play it. I'm stoked. I haven't played it. I'm excited. Just like I was excited to play Skyward Sword, because I never had a Nintendo Wii. So I've been playing Skyward Sword for the very first time, and I'm actually enjoying it because it's a whole new experience for me. Hopefully it does come out around Halloween, because I would love to play this right around Halloween. While we're on remasters, GTA 5 remaster. Now, some of you are probably getting a little sick of GTA 5 and really wanting to get to GTA 6. And patience, and I'll get into that. I agree with you. I really want to see Grand Theft Auto 6 come out. In fact, this whole showcase would have gotten an A+ from me if they ended it with Grand Theft Auto 6. Not in a million years would I ever think they would do that, but because it's just not out, it's not ready yet. I would love to see GTA 6, but I was a big fan of GTA 5. I know, I'm part of the problem, because I'm probably going to upgrade my disc version to this remaster, and I'm giving them more money. And GTA 5 keeps making so much money that there's no reason to actually bring out GTA 6, because GTA 5 just keeps making money. I'm part of the problem. I am going to play the remaster. But to my defense, I haven't played GTA 5 in a while. I don't really do the online GTA, no particular reason why. I just like the campaigns a little bit better. So I actually haven't played GTA 5 for a while, so I'm happy to revisit that game. It's such a great game. It's such a great open world game. I'd love to see it with improved graphics. But before you all get angry at me, because I know this is a touchy subject, I feel like I do agree, they kind of keep reselling GTA 5. For me, this is going to depend on the price. And I just want to say, like, this should really be maybe a $10 upgrade if you already own a copy of the game. Also, this trailer, I don't feel like it's a good representation of what the game will look like remastered. The trailer seems kind of half put together, really. I'm kind of surprised they did this. This remaster keeps getting pushed back. It was supposed to come out in November. Now it's supposed to be next year, which is odd to me. But then again, these days, I don't know what's not odd. We are living in very strange times. So I have a feeling the game, the remaster version, when it does come out, it's going to look better than this. So going back to Rockstar Games here, I really don't think like Rockstar Games have really been sitting on their laurels in the fact that it's been over 8 years and we still don't have a GTA 6. One thing I want to remind everybody of, which it's overlooked sometimes, because yes, we want GTA 6 and we're like, man, it's been over 8 years and you're still pushing GTA 5 and trying to make money off that game. But in between over 8 years ago when GTA 5 came out and now, Rockstar gave us Red Dead Redemption 2, and that was a massive game. And I gotta tell you, I love that game. It quickly became one of my favorite games, and that was a massive open world game. I mean, that was just massive. And you could spend almost an hour just walking the landscape of that game. It's not like Rockstar hasn't been busy. Rockstar under Take-Two, of course, but Rockstar being, the main driving engine behind these games. So yeah, it's been a long time since we've had a new GTA, but in that time we did have Red Dead Redemption 2. So now I do want a GTA 6. There will be a GTA 6. We have to be patient. And let me tell you something. Here's just a theory. I think even if Rockstar Games had GTA 6 available right now, I don't think they'd actually release it. I think they would hold on to it. I think they would hold on to it till next year at least. And the reason, because people still can't get consoles. Gamers can't get consoles. And it's just really hard to get these new generation consoles. Still, with all the scalpers, with the pandemic, which is causing a chip shortage, like everything is related to the pandemic, of course. It all kind of stems to that root, but there's all these other issues that have developed because of it. Now, when you release a game like GTA 6 and you know it's going to be good, I'm sure it's going to be good. It's probably going to be the game of the decade whenever they release it. Hopefully if they release it this decade. But it will be the game of the decade. And when you want to release a game of the decade like that, that's going to be the biggest game in the world, you're probably going to want to have a lot of new generation consoles in people's hands, in gamers' hands at that time. So the fact that gamers just can't get these new consoles yet because there's still a shortage would tell me that they would probably wait, because they're going to want to have the maximum amount of PS5s out there, the maximum amount of Xbox Series S and X consoles out there before they actually release this game, because they're going to make more money. Although I know it's strange to think, because GTA 5 8.5 some years out now is still making money, but they're setting up GTA 6 to do the same thing. They kind of set up Red Dead Redemption 2 to do the same thing, especially with all the online action that's going on. So I think we just have to be patient, and I know that when Rockstar releases that game, it is going to be so good. And believe me, when you actually have it in your hands and you play it, you actually have a new console in your hands, a new generation console in your hands, and you have that game, you're going to be like, well, it's probably worth the wait. I think you'll think that when the game actually is there in your hands and you actually have a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or S to play with. Now, it's pretty obvious here at the Chrono Cabin, I love the Halloween season. This is my favorite time of year, although Halloween season kind of lasts all the way year-round here, but this is the best time. It's a time when I get to be cozy in my little cabin here. It gets cold outside, it gets windy, it gets rainy. It's a great time to watch some horror films and just kind of sit back with some video games, be all cozy inside the cabin. So in this presentation, or in this showcase, I actually did see some games that would be great for this Halloween season. I just don't think they're going to come out before Halloween. I think they're going to come out later. It's just been the way things are. Let's take Ghostwire. I think Ghostwire looks like a great game. It reminds me a little bit of Persona, has kind of a Persona vibe to it. But more importantly, I think this game actually has a very Japanese horror genre vibe to it. I think this is going to be a horror type game, but specifically in that Japanese horror genre. There's a lot of great films, like a lot of great horror films that come out of Japan. In fact, there's, just to digress a little bit, South Korea. South Korea has nailed the horror genre. Surprisingly too, I really like a lot of the horror movies coming out of Indonesia now. I think they're easily making some of the better horror films. And then of course Japan. Japan has a great horror film genre. And of course, from Japan, we got The Ring. and I thought that was a fantastic remake of Ringu, which came out in Japan. Ringu I watched too. I didn't think the filmmaking was that great, but I think the remake that they did in the United States of The Ring was fantastic, and a lot of other great horror movies have come out of Japan. So anyway, to throw that Japanese horror film aesthetic into a video game, I think is really great. I love it. I would love to see this game come out before Halloween, but I don't think it's going to. The action and the gameplay looks interesting. I like how you're using your hands, and it seems like you're using magical spells or whatever. Maybe it's a little bit of Skyrim if you're playing the sorcerer. Who knows? Looks good, looks great. Love to see it before Halloween. Doubt it'll happen, but it's definitely a game I'm looking forward to playing when it comes out. Another game that I think would be great to play during this Halloween season is Vampire Blood Hunt. I think this kind of has a Blade vibe to it, maybe Blade 2. Both films I really enjoyed, Wesley Snipes. Yeah, it definitely has that look. You can play it right now if you're on a PC. I saw that the pre-orders are out for PS5. Would definitely like to see this before Halloween, but you know, again, I think just have to be patient. Now, another thing that I'm pretty excited for is Wolverine. I mean, I gotta say, Wolverine is my favorite X-Men character. He's my favorite Marvel character, and this game just looks cool. I think it's kind of the older side of Wolverine, the more bitter side, the darker side of Wolverine. Looks like it's gonna be really bloody. Something crossed my mind too. You know, it would be awesome, and I don't think that it's going to be in this game, but it would really be cool to have an open world Wolverine game. You all can tell me what you think, but I think having an open world Wolverine game where you kind of play as Wolverine, but not always, you know, in action, but you play part of the game just in Wolverine's life, like everyday life. And you kind of have that open world where you interact with a lot of people, but then you also have the combat. But just an open world Wolverine game to me would be just the coolest thing ever. I think obviously this game is going to be very story driven, and it's going to be very linear, but we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. Would have liked to have seen a little gameplay out of this, but I'm just excited for Wolverine. I don't play a lot of Marvel games, video games. No real reason why, but Wolverine is one that I'll definitely pick up. And on the superhero front, I think Spider-Man 2 looks really great too. We have to be very patient here. It is a long way off, everyone. I mean, it's 2023. I'm almost like kind of happy that they put this in the showcase, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, really though? Like 2023. I mean, it's not even next year. It's the year after. But it does look great. I like how they're making Venom the main villain in this. And what I'm actually more excited about is they got Tony Todd to voice Venom. And if you don't know who Tony Todd is, go and watch a movie called Candyman. There's a remake out right now. It's actually not a remake. It's actually Candyman, but it takes place 30 years later, I think is what it is. I haven't seen it. It's in theaters now. But I'm a huge fan of the original Candyman, and Tony Todd played Candyman. And he just made that movie. His voice is so great. He did such a great job as Candyman. Talk about a great score for a horror movie. It's one of my favorite scores in a horror movie. Philip Glass did the music for that. If you haven't checked out Candyman, maybe check it out. I still think it holds up today. But anyway, I think just having Tony Todd play Venom, man, that's great. So I think Spider-Man 2 looks like a lot of fun. And of course, I'll just touch on God of War. Already so much has been said about this game. I think it looks great. I have a fun story about it though. The first time I ever saw God of War, my good friend brought his PlayStation over on New Year's Eve. We were going to have a party later that night, but he came over early. He just got God of War. And that was the first time I ever saw God of War on the PlayStation. He brought over, we put it on my TV, and he played it. And I thought it was really cool. I felt like at that time it wasn't really the game necessarily for me because it was just a lot of fighting, and I felt like it could get repetitive. But I'm excited to actually play this new God of War game. I think it looks fantastic. And second of all, I think they've really kind of opened up the world a bit, and it's going to be interesting because you can actually go into towns and talk to people. You know, maybe you can get some pumpkin soup or some pumpkin pie, and you know, from a vendor instead of just slashing everyone's heads off. I think it'll be a little more interesting. It might add something to the game. So I think this will be great. Again, I'm not a huge fan of God of War, but I think this game might make me a fan of God of War. I don't know. Looking forward to it, though. The only others I'll touch on just quickly, but I didn't really see enough to necessarily get too excited about, but there was Forspoken. I think this game looks really, really good. The environments look amazing in this game. Just not sure what to think about it yet. And also, Project Eve, I thought looked absolutely fantastic. This game looks like it could be just a killer game to play. Again, I'd like to see a little bit more than what they showed, but overall, like, I'm definitely gonna get this game. I'm very curious about it. They piqued my curiosity. So let's get back to this idea of us gamers having to be patient. Yeah, it's kind of the name of the game, and I think it's been that way for a while. I was definitely hoping to see more PS5 exclusives in this, but I have a feeling, and this is just a theory on my end, I have a feeling a lot of these companies are kind of holding off releasing their games, and it's like from what I mentioned before with Rockstar Games. I think that they just want to get more new generation consoles in people's hands before they actually release these games, because they want the maximum amount of consoles in people's hands before they actually release these games to make the most amount of money. So in some ways, though, being a little patient with this might not be a bad thing. Whether or not game companies are holding off, or it's just literally they're just behind schedule, I don't know. But I think it might work out to our benefit, because these game companies are now having a lot more time to polish these games up. And hey, wouldn't it be great if we just get a game right out of the bat that is just great without needing a ton of patches? You know, which seems like that's been happening so much lately. They just release a game, it just kind of comes out like crap, and then they just patch the hell out of it. And just keep patching it until it gets better. But you know, in this state where we are really waiting for a lot of these great titles to come out, I mean, when they come out, they're probably going to be really good right off the bat. Like, there's probably not going to be any big bugs. There's probably not going to be a lot of need for patching. And I feel like it might just give these game companies time to polish it. You can all tell me what you think. I know it's frustrating, and it's tough to be patient these days, but I will say this. There's a lot of great stuff out there to play right now. I mean, there's a lot of back catalog stuff that you can play. If you have a Switch, there's a ton of stuff on the Switch that you can play. And even if you don't have a PS5, and if you have a PS4 Pro, you're still able to play a lot of stuff in 4K, and you're getting a lot of the advantages of these remastered games. So, you know, it's frustrating, I know, not having a PS5, but there's really not a lot out for a PS5 still. So I do hope everyone can get one, especially before the holidays, because it'd be really nice to, you know, spend the time before the holidays just playing around with the new consoles. But we just have to be patient. There's a lot going on in the world right now. I do think Sony is working hard to try to get these consoles out. It really is a bottleneck of parts, essentially. And I do think, yes, Sony could have handled all these scalpers better. I don't really know what the answer is to it per se, but the thing that really keeps scalpers going is people that keep buying the games from them. Just like I am keeping GTA 5 alive because I'm buying it. But seriously, if you keep buying from scalpers, then scalpers still have a platform, and that's the honest truth. I don't know any way around it except stop buying from scalpers. But I know that's hard to say because people really desperately want these new consoles, and so I understand that aspect of it too. I think we have a lot to be patient for, and it is a test of patience for gamers, but I do think there's a lot of great stuff coming out. Overall, this is why I am kind of optimistic on this showcase, because I do think there's a lot of promise. I think it's just getting started. The fact that people can't even get these consoles in hands, it's all just getting started. And there's going to be a lot of greatness coming out of Sony for the PS5. Lots of greatness. See, even Mr. Yeti's excited. That's his excited look. Mr. Yeti's very excited. That's his excited look. Very excited. So everyone, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, give it a like, and you can tap that bell for any future notifications of whenever I release new content. Also, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I release daily videos there of the horror films I'm watching in my countdown to Halloween, which I started back on September 1st. So it's a horror movie at night all the way till Halloween, and you can see what I'm watching. So everyone, keep playing those video games, keep watching those horror films, stay positive, keep leveling up.